All right, we are live, and I am so excited about this conversation. So, we're going to give it a second for people to continue to come on in. But if you are checking in from YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, whether you are connected to me, Patrice Washington, or Natalie Bullen from Unapologetic Wealth, just say hi and let us know that you're here, that you can hear us. I am so excited about this conversation. And we call this a bold conversation about wealth because you have two women who have boldly set out to redefine wealth and make wealth more unapologetic for women to talk about. And I think it's really dope when women come together and they collaborate in this way. And so say hello. I see you guys checking in from Connecticut. I see Houston is here, Missouri, two Houstons. Okay. Keep telling us where you're from. And I will start by just, saying who I am. For those of you who don't know, Monica says she's here from Orlando and she loves both of our platforms. I love that. Thank you for being here, Monica. I'm Patrice Washington. If you're not familiar with me, I am the host and the founder of the Redefining Wealth movement. I have been in the personal finance space for almost 20 years. Who said that? Almost 20 years is crazy to me, but that means that I've been living my life with this intention of moving the masses to not just settle for debt, but to redefine wealth for themselves. We want to talk about on my platform the six pillars of wealth. And these are the parts of your life that impact your finances, even when you're not thinking about it. And so my background is in financial psychology and behavioral finance. I've led the Redefining Wealth podcast for the last 7.5 years, over 20 million downloads. And we have an international community of people that I call purpose chasers. And these are people who want to make life decisions from alignment and abundance and purpose and faith, not fear, not intimidation, not conformity, not anything that will make you apologize for who you are, for your God given gifts, and what you feel led to do in life and in the marketplace. And so that's a little bit about redefining wealth. But now I want to kick it to my girl, Natalie Bullen from Unapologetic Wealth. So, Natalie, you may have heard her. If you're from my audience, you've heard her on the Redefining Wealth podcast. She was featured earlier this year and incredible. Natalie, you take it away. Tell us about Unapologetic Wealth.
Whew, I gotta go after that. Listen, I am just so thankful to be here. If you do not know me already, I am Nat Bullen. I own Unapologetic Wealth, which is so aligned in mission. I'm so blessed to have found somebody such in alignment. And similar to Patrice, I've been in money a long time. I worked in wealth management. I've been a small business advocate. I've been a loan originator, and none of them compare to the beautiful work that I get to do with entrepreneurial women who are aligned with their purpose, but also really want to be wealthy. And I love the idea that Black and brown women, especially Black women, get to decide, I don't want to be middle class. I want to have an outsized financial reward for my outsized gift from God. And we started off as a firm that really taught sales that now encompasses so much more than that. Your entire revenue engine, how you message to people who are still buying, even in this trying economy, how you can step fully into what God has for you, which, in case you didn't know, is not chargebacks and arguments and wrong fit clients. It's not discounts. What God has for you is so big and fun and interesting and calls you to do the specific work for the specific person that you were called to serve. And that person is a joy for you, and they see you as a joy as well. And I love shifting the paradigm around the idea that Black women have to hustle really hard, work themselves to death, burn out. It's not true. And so that's why Unapologetic Wealth exists, because I don't want you to apologize for how good things are going to get for you. So I am excited, elated, on fire to have this conversation. And I just want to state for people who don't know, this happened because I was faithful and I was where I was supposed to be. So if you ever thought to yourself, I want to go to this event, but I'm going to stay home, go, because that's how I met Patrice.
That's how Natalie and I met. And I love that you even start with that. So I want to be fully transparent. Both Natalie and I have events in September, I think in the same week. So
Yeah.
Redefining Wealth Live is September 12th through 14th here in Atlanta. And then Unapologetic Wealth is, what are the dates,
17th
Natalie?
through the 19th.
17th through the 19th, also in Atlanta. And I think it's so important to just say that up front, Natalie, because let me tell you what God put on my heart for this season. And I've been talking about this in the Redefining Wealth app. This quarter, I feel, as our theme for Redefining Wealth Live is Outlast, I feel that in order to truly outlast, and that doesn't mean like barely make it, scrape by. It doesn't mean like, girl, I'm just trying to survive. It means to truly thrive. Even in a season like this, it is going to take community, partnerships, some affiliate relationships, but greatness is not created in isolation. And I thought to myself, what better conversation to have right now than a conversation with someone who's in a similar space, right? We probably have a lot of the same types of clients. And also, we're having events at the exact same time. Some people would say, oh my gosh, well, Natalie is your competition. Like, oh, you can't do that. You don't want to like talk with her and then your people will go there. And I'm like, absolutely not. We said this actually when we first talked some months ago and realized that we were doing it the same week. We're like, oh my gosh, what a wonderful way, especially to show women in business that
Mm,
collaboration is really, I believe, the key to success. It's the
yeah.
key to wealth building. Most of what I know because of learning and being in community and proximity with amazing mentors and coaches, and just putting myself in spaces with people who speak the language that I desire to speak, right? And I
Yeah.
thought it was so good. We didn't plan this. I think we actually thought about doing this earlier in the year, actually, but it was
Mhm.
so interesting. I just thought it was so powerful that it came up during this season where in my quiet time I've been hearing community and partnership. That
Yeah.
is the secret weapon, the secret sauce to outlasting any season that feels too heavy or too hectic. You need
Mm,
people. You need people. And you can't be afraid to connect your people with other good people because they will
yes.
always remember who helped them make the connection. That's one thing we
Always.
won't forget.
We don't. We always remember who helped us, especially when things were tough, especially when things were down. And Patrice is being humble here, which is one of her blessings. I'll let her have that. But she made sure her dates did not conflict with mine. And I just want to put that out there publicly. It is not the same as the dates were set. It was, I made sure I did not conflict because I wanted both. I wanted our audiences to be able to experience both. I also want to say that we get what we look for. And often I hear this, women are catty, the crab in the bucket, that there's this outsized competition and that people don't collaborate. But I have experienced true generosity, true collaboration, and true relationship every time I sought it out. And so sometimes we are calling in those negative experiences because we're looking for someone to have a knife out. So it's no wonder that we back into it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just felt like I had to say it. I just felt like somebody needed to hear I looked for collaboration and God showed it to me.
Yeah, that's so good. Um, and I love Anne Marie's comment, character and authenticity matter as we build communities and partnerships. So, so true. Okay, so we need to say or share a little bit more. What can people expect to learn about wealth from you at Unapologetic Wealth, the 17th through the 19th? And do you have any like special speakers or anything that you just want to like share with the people?
You are the special speaker. They have been shared. If I'm special, Patrice is special. We likely will have one other like for breakout, but listen, we're keeping it tight because I want to make sure that the message does not get muddied
Mm-hmm.
from too many ideas, too many voices on the stage. So people can expect to get some dynamic and interactive programming. There are three things I really want to drive home at Unapologetic Wealth Live. One is that you are actually good with money. And Patrice, I know you run into this a lot as well. Women have been conditioned since an early age that they are bad with math, bad with numbers, and bad with money. And none of those things are statistically true. There's no data that actually backs those. Girls score just as well on math tests as boys at early age. We just believe that we are worse. So, one, we're going to give you financial frameworks, how you can make better decisions with whatever amount of money you already have. All right. So that's the first thing that we're going to be driving home. The second thing is how to hold on to larger sums of money. Most people teach you how to get rich. I teach how to stay rich, which is actually much more challenging.
Right there. So
Yeah,
let's
which is
unpack what that means.
So getting rich is easy. Win the lottery, getting inheritance. I've been a licensed financial advisor previous to running this business. People often come into settlements in our world, launches, right, where they've made hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars. But without a blueprint, without a framework, without a system, without automation, without hiding some of that money from yourself and your YOLO lifestyle, right? Because you was good with that Kia until this launch, and now all of a sudden it has to be a Range Rover.
Ooh.
That's interesting because you ain't been driving no Range Rover.
And making it.
But now the only thing that could get you from point A to point B is a Range Rover. I teach people how to stay rich so that they can become wealthy. The thing about wealth is it's great, but it's far away mentally for most people. I want to get you in proximity of that wealth by helping you do better with what you have. And that's at any level, whether you are I make 100K a year and I'm not paying myself consistently. Great. What are some habits you need to put in place to pay yourself right now? 2, we making money, but we can't keep it. You know, those people who have to launch every quarter and they freak out when their launch doesn't work. It's because there's not cash reserves, right? We have 6-figure cash reserves at Unapologetic Wealth. That's what I want for everyone. So having a system that overcomes your own proclivities, because we're human. And most people think me and my humanity is going to be able to hold on to wealth. Baby, you grew up middle class, just like I did. My mom's a school teacher. Trust me, your natural tendency is not going to keep you with a lot of money because you didn't grow up that way. It's just not in your fortitude, but it can be. And until you scaffold your habits, you got to have somebody there to be like, hey, do this, don't do this. So I'm fired up about the how to stay rich because I don't feel like that gets talked about at all.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation and really show you guys what collaborative work can look like because Natalie talks to you about the staying rich. And my real work is rooted in helping people understand that, like you said, it's not enough to just launch over and over and over again. A lot of us are dealing with internal blocks and trying to please external definitions of wealth. Like we're dealing with a lot of things that don't even lead us to leverage our own God-given intuition because we're so concerned about external ideas, thoughts, labels, opinions, validation. And there's a lot of places in our lives where that shows up outside of money. And I believe with the 6 pillars of wealth that we teach from at Redefining Wealth, which will be September 12th to 14th. So you could come get a whole week of this with us. I'm the type of person, I feel like my place, Natalie, is to prepare people to really follow through with what you're teaching them. Because I know that there's a lot of people where you're giving them all the skill set stuff and they want to put it into practice. They want to do the things. And still, at first it's like people go, oh, I just need clarity. I just need clarity. I need someone to tell me what to do. You haven't removed the clutter from your life yet so that you could build the conviction to have the consistency.
Amen.
To put into place the things that you're being taught. And I feel like that's our lane at Redefining Wealth is really helping people understand that your definition of wealth, your version of wealth is not going to look like past programming. It may not look like what your parents said wealth was. It's some of that. I mean, even things like not knowing how to leverage lines of credit or build that cash reserve and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
people go, well, my mama said you're not supposed to have any kind of debt. And now you're running yourself into the ground because you can't create,
You
right?
can't leverage.
You can't leverage
Right.
anything. You can't create the room to actually grow your business and build because you're still operating from old, past limiting programming. And so part of
Right.
what we do is like, I call it deconstructing. So I say a lot of times when we're doing all these things, people will say, Natalie, oh Lord, she's destroying her life. Look at her doing all these things, untying maybe some unsupportive relationships, undoing some things, unlearning,
Right.
because these are the things we have to do to remove that clutter. And I
Yeah.
always
But
say
it's required.
it's
It's
required.
required. It
And you're
has
not
to happen.
destroying anything, you're deconstructing. That means you're
Right.
meticulously taking down, taking apart anything that may have kept you safe in one season. And it may have been a blessing in one season. But when
Yes.
you think about the vision that God has given you now and where you're going, what may have served you in one season could be killing you in this season. It could be
Mm,
choking the life out of the vision that you say you have. And so we both have wealth in our names, but I
yeah.
love that there's
So
all
different.
these different ways that you could call
Nooks and crannies. It's
it.
so
Oh,
different.
it's
Yeah,
so
it's so
good.
different. I feel like you're a bookend for what we do because not only do you help people unravel some of that really poisonous stuff to their current level, the next level, right? But you also help them enjoy it on the back end. One of the things that was so attractive when I first heard you speak, other than I could tell you were immediately anointed, I could feel that when you open your mouth. And it was when you got up at the end and you hugged people and you said, I stay fit so that I can stand for hours and hug every single person who wants a hug in my heels. If that take an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours, I'm on the Stairmaster thinking about hugging you all. That's what I took. That's the one thing I'll remember the rest of my life. You can put that in my obituary. One time Patrice said, I will remember that forever because most of us think wealth begins and ends with money. And you see people who are very wealthy and who are miserable and they are not in good health. They haven't seen their parents in years. My
Mhm.
mom is 75. My father is 76. How many Christmases do I have left? So it doesn't really matter how much money I die with if my relationships aren't great, if my health is not great, if my mental health is not great, if my relationships and my friendships, it's part of why I've actually created community, which is huge for me because I'm finally recognizing relational and social wealth is paramount. I'm not going to get where I need to get alone. It's why I have made my programming larger. This is our second annual Unapologetic Wealth Live. It was under a previous name, but it's bigger, it's better, it's more people. It is so powerful because I decided I know what I need. My next level is more people.
Mhm.
And
That
it's
sounds
not
like
just more money, it's more connections, it's more connectedness, it's more relationship. It's not just more money. And that's what people think wealth stops and ends, and it's not at
yeah.
all. And I love that you are very holistic in the way that you talk about wealth.
Yeah, the second pillar at redefining wealth is the people pillar, and we talk about creating relationships that matter. And in the same way, in this season, I felt like I was being told to go get my people. And it's interesting because my background has been in media quite a bit. I was on the Steve Harvey show, as you know, for 4 years, and
Yeah.
that was the talk show and the radio show. Redefining Wealth, my podcast has over 20 million downloads. I'm currently on an award-winning show on PBS, and people would say,
Wow.
"Oh, well, you're already doing all the things to reach the people." But I felt like in this season, I was being called to go deeper with the people assigned to me. Like it wasn't just a matter of just one, like this one to many. And I think you're like this too. It's like there's a desire to know the people, there's a desire to
Yeah.
do life with people, and there's a desire to see them go through the phases. At Redefining Wealth, we have, awakening, getting off autopilot, redefining, really being clear about what you want for your life now, what that looks like, what the full vision is, and then actualizing how to go get it. And you like, I feel like we're in a space and time where people have done enough like one and done type of communities and
Yes,
spaces and containers.
yes,
Because
it's
you go get
problematic.
2 weeks here, 6 weeks there, you know,
And
something
8 weeks
here.
here of sprint intensive. You do a VIP day with this person. You go to this conference. You go to that conference, and
Too
you
much.
you you don't retain it, and you also still feel alone. And a lot of people are chasing. They're running from loneliness in these programs. And my mom. You'll meet my mom at the event. She's going to do the opening prayer, and she'll be there in person. And I don't want to cry, but it's major for me. It's gonna be the capstone of my career is having my mom on this stage.
Oh,
My mom is real churchy, okay? My mama love the Lord, and she gonna let you know it, right? She calls people lovingly who don't have a church home unchurched. And she tells me that people don't want to be uncoached. She said people don't want to get out your program after 8 weeks and go back to doing it alone, Natalie. They don't want to be uncoached. Stop letting these people out of your programs for them to fall in bed with these charlatans. And we've all had clients who left us, gone somewhere else, had a not so great experience, and then we got to come and welcome them with open arms and try to unprogram all the bad stuff that's happened to them. Now they're skeptical, they're jaded, their net worth is lower. So that is one thing that I have done is create continuity. And when people come to after they've gone to Redefining Wealth and untangled, untied, and then we get them tied back up, laced up in some new sneaks at Unapologetic Wealth Live, right? We're going to offer people an opportunity to stay in community with us
yeah.
because it's just the ethical, kind thing to do. It's actually unkind to get people real hyped up and give them a blueprint and say, okay, well, good luck implementing that by yourself. We'll see y'all next year. Have a nice life. Now it's very much how can you stay in community? Because the number of people who are teaching get rich quick, just have a launch, you're just one funnel away, you're one ad strategy away. I don't teach any of that because it's not true. I could teach you how to master the stock market in 30 minutes, but if you don't believe you are worthy of being a millionaire, you will never even open the brokerage account. I've seen it. Or you will open it and you'll cash all the money out and pay the 10% IRS penalty. I've seen it. We have to shift people's belief
Yeah.
and let them. It's safe to dream. It's safe to have desire. I find that women they want their husband happy. They want their children happy. Everybody gets to be their clients. What about you? What do you want? What has God put you here for? What is the desire of your heart? That's what God says he wants us to have. Many of us have just let that desire go. Because if we're really being honest, you want to be able to travel to Bali next month. You want to take a paid sabbatical for 6 weeks. You do. You want to have a great right hand. You want to have a full-time employee manager. You want those things. You do. You just have decided that they aren't for you for whatever reason. And that's what I want to unlock for people at Unapologetic Wealth Live. We're going to have time to dream and we're going to have time to pour into people because I do not want them to leave the way that they came.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good.
Mm-hmm.
One of our most popular episodes on the Redefining Wealth podcast is called Dream a New Dream. And it was the episode where I announced my separation after 15 years of
Mm-hmm.
marriage in 2022. And the number of women, and I told people this is not about marriage or a romantic relationship. This is about women giving themselves permission to say, yes, in my 20s, this is what the dream was. In my 30s, this may have been what the dream was. But in this season of my life, it is okay for me to give myself permission to dream a new dream. Some of
Yeah.
us think that once we, hit that initial version, we just supposed to go to the grave with that. Like we're just supposed to do nothing, right? And go, oh, I'm writing it out. And now everything is about just everyone else but me. And I hope what you guys are hearing from both of us is that you have the right to create the vision that you desire, but you have to be radically honest about what you need to do to remove those blockers personally, but also then set yourself up financially to go get it. Like you have to be willing to do the hard things to set yourself up to go get it. So if you're looking for more information about either event, you can check out Redefining Wealth Live at redefiningwealthlive.com. And Natalie, how do they get information about unapologetic wealth?
It won't let me comment, but they can go to my website, unapologeticwealth.com. We have a beautiful banner at the top to make it easy for people to find. Thank you so much see, it's the sisterhood. Thank you so much for dropping that for me.
Unapologeticwealth.com.
Yeah.
Check that out. And then I'll also put Redefining Wealth live.com. And whatever you guys decide, I don't think you can go wrong here. I think that what really needs to happen is you have to think about where you are in this season of your life, what has been nudging you, what's been calling you forward, and what do you genuinely feel like you need next in order to experience your definition of wealth, what you see for yourself, what that new dream is. And I would say if you come into Atlanta, come to both.
Yeah, just stay, make an extended trip. Just stay the 12th to the 14th, hang out, right? My room block starts that Tuesday. So you could just slide on over to a different hotel and really make a week, a transformational week, something that will probably shift the rest of your life, if at minimum the next 12 months of your life, at minimum, but likely the rest of your life.
I always say, Natalie, one thing can change everything. And to me, proximity is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I know that I tend to be one of those people. I always tell my clients, borrow my belief until you can get like,
please borrow mine. It's here for you. Borrow it. It's a public library. Take it home with you. Just bring it back, but take it with you, because I believe so deeply that wealth is your birthright. I believe it in my core. It is something that I will die on that hill. And I think it is so important for us to recognize there's always been some point in our lives where we were uncertain. People look at me and think, Natalie, you're so confident. You're always certain. You're always sure. You must know it's going to work. No, I do it anyway. Right. And I'm willing to continue to learn. And I don't see things as losses. I've lost money and I've made bad investments, and all of those things are true, but I've always been restored. That's one. I've always been restored. And two, sometimes the things you went through were specifically to help others, right? I filed bankruptcy in my 20s with a finance degree in one of the most embarrassing moments in my life. Due to no fault of my own, I got sick. I got laid off. I wasn't jet skiing in the Bahamas. I didn't own luxury purses or bags. I'd never been to Atlanta. I'd never been to Miami. I'd never been on a vacation at all when I filed bankruptcy. I felt like the dumbest person, because everybody I knew filed bankruptcy was living large, and I was working 3 jobs, right? But it gave me such compassion for people who I met later in life who had filed bankruptcy. It gave me so much more better information to be able to guide people out of it if they could help it. It really got me into finance to see how predatory some areas of finance are. It gave me data and understanding, and it taught me you ain't too good. What happens to people could happen to you. You need to be grateful for whatever you have. And I think I would have been an elitist snob had things turned out a different way, and I would have convinced myself my knowledge had shielded me from this outcome that happened to other people but could never have happened to me. See, it happened to me young, so now I know better, right? And it makes me so much better as a coach and as a human to know both sides of the wealth spectrum. I know what it's like to have $100 million in a brokerage account, and I know what it is like to have negative $100 in your Wells Fargo checking account.
I can see why when you first heard me, I probably resonated so much.
Yeah. I felt like there was a tall version of myself with locks standing up on the stage. I was like, who is this spirit? And I was already a fan. I was a little starstruck. I took covert pictures. Let me tell y'all my networking tip, okay? You want to get you a powerhouse in your world? Go to their events, take pictures, and then send them the pictures on Instagram. Hey, I took these pictures of you for you to use later. It works every time.
Well, you learned that here too. A great
You learned you a tip, honey. It was so miraculous because we live in a smoke and mirrors type of industry where everyone always wins. Everyone's investments work. They've never hired a bad coach. They've never bought a bad real estate property. They've never had an offer that didn't work. Every launch was profitable. Every hire worked out. Every day is a good hair day. They've never been overweight. They're only 5 pounds bigger than when they were in high school. They didn't have menopause symptoms. Their lashes are naturally long. I mean, it never ends. There's and people say, well, they're just excellent. Excellent is a really bad barometer. That's something I've learned, and I'm going to talk more about that at Unapologetic Wealth, because you can worship excellence to the degree that when human things happen to you, you think you did something wrong. No, we're just human, and things are going to have shift and transition. Every season is not a harvest season, but that doesn't mean that the season isn't still fruitful. So talking to people who are in their planting season, who are in their, the season where we let the soil rest. Can't plant all the time, and you can't harvest all the time. The soil has to, or it will become depleted. You have to give your soil time to regenerate its nutrients. No one talks about that. What do you do with your wealth in the interim? So I am so thankful to have you, and I know I'm gonna be on fire. Like, if I'm one of those people. I'm a slow build. By the day of the event, right, I'm gonna be like cartwheeling off the stage, because I just get more and more hype as we get closer and closer to the date. But if you can make it, and I'm gonna say this as a person who is introverted, as a person who does not love travel, if you can make it, you should come. If you can make it, if you can move things around, you should come. The tickets are half what they could be for either of us, right? We made them as such a point to get you here, and to be able to take great care of you, to be able to feed you, to be able to serve you, and to be able to solve some problems for you. Getting under the right leadership is paramount in this season. Mm-hmm. So if you resonate with the leadership you are watching here, you want to get under sound leadership, because if not, unfortunately, there's so much noise in the marketplace. And I don't want you to fall prey to something that is not going to move you towards your next season, especially as a believer. All right, I'm off my soapbox. I had to say it.
Ooh, I know.
Like, I had to be PC, but we know. And if you love the Lord, I want you to make sure you got somebody who also loves the Lord leading you in your faith walk. All right, I said it.
You said a lot, and I really appreciate that. And I have to say, it took me some years to learn that it was unkind to leave people hanging, and to open people up to such possibility, and then leave them up to the scammers and the charlatans, and just people who are not operating from integrity or real life. Like,
it's Mars. They're not even on Earth with us.
I used to have clients that would say, "But no, coach," and I'd be like, "Well, I did the thing. You came in, you did the program, and we're done." And after watching so many things go down over the years, I realized how naive I was.
Yes.
About who people say they are and how they present themselves, not only in my own experience, but also in just hearing the stories from clients and just other people. And I know that this work is so important, and even though it's not easy, I just want to be clear, you guys, it's not easy to curate these spaces, to curate communities, to put live events together and all those things. But I do feel like in this season, it's a responsibility for those that are called. I feel like it's a responsibility to curate a space where people can not just find like-minded folks and a like-minded coach, but where they can find like hearts, and have an opportunity to remove the judgment and the shame and the mask, and be in a place that won't coddle you, but will show compassion. I think Natalie and I are very similar in that, like, we love y'all, but we're not gonna play with you. Like,
you're not gonna play with us,
and you can't play with us either. But I think that that's really important and so necessary in this season, because so many of us are isolated, and we've been taken advantage of, and we're talking ourselves in and talking ourselves out, and we don't know what we really need to do to get to not even get clear, because it's not clarity, it's almost to get the guts to just do the thing,
Yeah,
to get
it's the audacity.
the
It's really
audacity.
the boldness. It's really stepping out unapologetically because frankly, it don't take but one bad investment to put many people out of business. So I, similarly to you, have gotten to where it's unkind. You know, I'm writing a book. It's technically a sales book, but it's really a belief book
Mhm.
in a sales wrapper. And it talks about how if you are an expert, truly an expert, you have mastery, it's demonstrated, then you have a moral obligation to go out and offer your services to people. That's my true belief. So if you are as good as you say that you are, why doesn't anybody know about it? That alone gives me pause. When I meet these silent experts, I'm like, there's a mismatch because the marketplace is always going to there's coaching is a feels like a gold rush for charlatans. They can't wait to come and see all this money, these big deal. People who used to be door to door selling knives and encyclopedias can't believe they luck. There's somebody out here paying $10,000 for VIP days, and all they got to do is make some posts on Facebook, and they can get somebody to say yes. I used to have to do door to door. I used to cold call. I used to be a telemarketer. I used to be the person trying to get you to pay that bill you ain't paid in 2 years. Right now, you could just post some AI stuff on Facebook and get clients. We are called to serve the people we are called to serve, and the buyers also, you know in your gut when something is right and when something is wrong. And a lot of us have quieted those voices because of the promises being offered in the containers. And this is why I've gotten big on not promising you that I'm going to make this world changing thing in 3 days. It's going to be a catalyst to
Yes.
begin an important shift in your life. It can be the start of a brand new chapter, the chapter where you delay gratification if that's what it takes, where you put your child on payroll and open them a Roth IRA, right? It's going to be a beginning of a chapter, but it's absolutely not going to be this osmotic change where I snap my fingers and put you under a spell and now you a whole new person. And anyone promising you that is not being honest.
Yeah, because transformation takes time.
It takes time, and that's a good thing. Rapid transformation is overwhelming. And we've all had seasons. I've called what I've been through my cocoon season. Right now, I feel like I am covered in goo and I'm slowly being dissolved so that God can put me back together and turn me into this butterfly. It is not comfortable. It's a good thing that transformation truly takes time so that you can adapt and you can adjust. You can let your family know that you're different. You can let your partner know that you're different. You can show your children that you are different. You can show your parents that you are different. Because all the things I get people to do, it is gonna involve you not being a people pleaser with money and not being the family ATM. It is gonna involve you not proactively discounting your rates. It's gonna involve you pitching clients that you think are further ahead than you or have more money than you or think they're better. It's gonna involve discomfort.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
want it to take some time so you can adjust and the world can adjust to the new you. Get rich quick, change your life quick, overhaul everything quick. It's a scheme. It sounds good, but I would much prefer the years. My overnight success took a decade, and I'm so glad that it did because I would have been so overwhelmed had this happened in a weekend, and I would have curled up in a ball, and y'all would have never seen me online again. So like get in front of powerful people. Patrice is someone that I vouch for 100%. I was a fan before I met her, and at the point that I met her, it clicked. And I think if you haven't seen her on stage yet, that's a travesty. That is one of the saddest things you could tell me, that you've never been in a room and seen her on stage just as of yet. And I would like to consider myself a powerhouse speaker as well, just FYI. So if you can make it, all roads lead to Atlanta. We put them bookended for you to make it super convenient. You ain't got to fly home and fly back. Just tell everybody you're gonna be gone for a week. Get the grandma to watch the kids and really do something for yourself. Do something for you and your personal development. This is not a professional development conference. It's a personal development conference. We are going to dig into you, and you're going to leave forever changed. And I will leave it there.
Amen. And I just want to say too, for whatever reason, if you can't come to Redefining Wealth Live and be in the room, we do also have a virtual option. There's only 44 tickets total for Redefining Wealth Live in honor of my 44th birthday this year, but also because I felt led, like I said earlier, to go deeper with fewer people. There's something about me learning in this season how to manage my own energy and my own capacity, and just like that potency of being able to look eyeball to eyeball with people and just be there in it with them. And so, there's only 44 tickets for our in-person version of Redefining Wealth Live, but we also have virtual tickets. And so you don't lose anything. You still get to have wisdom circle breakouts. There's still so much richness in the conversations. You have access to all of the content from the entire 3 days. But maybe you decide you want to come to Redefining Wealth Live virtual, get yourself in order, um, expand your ideas and thoughts about what wealth are and what maybe blocks for you and any of the 6 pillars of wealth. And then you fly into Atlanta and come to Unapologetic Wealth. I'm sharing that because I believe 100% is possible 100% of the time. It's really about us giving ourselves permission to think outside the box and to think more intentionally about being resourceful. That is a wealth strategy just there. It's just knowing how to be resourceful and not just, oh, well, we instantly drop into default thinking, which says I have to do either or choose or this or that.
No,
You can have what you desire, but are you going to be resourceful enough to think about how to
make
make it
it work.
possible? So,
Yeah.
again, we're not going to keep you guys all day. Natalie, thank you so much for just having this conversation and
Mm.
being an example. I think one of the first public examples this quarter for me of what I said, the people pillar is all about, for me in this season, community and partnerships and collaboration, and being able to demonstrate to my clients and the women that I serve that women don't ever have to be catty. We don't have to be
No,
competitive. It doesn't have to turn into this. If she's doing that, I can't do this. I feel like all of that is silly and rooted in scarcity. And
all of
this is what
it's
abundance,
made up too. It's
yeah,
made up. It
abundance looks
people who compete don't have the skills. I've never met a skilled person who saw me as a threat.
like.
Ever. I've never met it. So people who are like, them folks are intimidated by you. Yes, they have skill.
Yeah.
Like if they skilled up, they wouldn't have, there would be nothing for them to be intimidated or competitive with. And I find that 1 plus 1 usually equals 6 or 7.
Mhm. Oh,
like
yeah.
both people do way better. Like we have 1 plus 1 is 2. It's not 2 or 3 or 4. It's 6 or 7 in my lived experience. And I am honored that my 1 gets to meet with your 1 and be 3.5.
I love it. I love it. So again, I just want to say September 2025 is going to be a defining
Make
moment
it
in your
happen.
life. If
Make
you
it happen.
if you allow it to be, check out Redefining Wealth at redefiningwealthlive.com and check out Unapologetic Wealth at unapologeticwealth.com. We'll make sure that we put both links in the description of this replay if you're catching the replay. But we hope to see you at one or both of these events. Either way, your life is going to change. And I know I'm grateful to have an opportunity to play a part in whatever that looks like for you in this season. Um, any last words, Natalie?
I thank God for you all. I'll see y'all in September.
We'll see you in September. God bless you guys.